Roe is a fantastic bait for different salmon species. So in a moving stream, you can float fish with them. This especially works really well for coho salmon. And you can also bottom fish with them, let's say in the tidal Fraser River. But you can't simply cut a piece off and put on your hook, cast it out, because chances are that bait will fall off the hook after 1 or 2 casts because it's naturally too soft, too mushy. So you need to cure it. So in this how to fish video, we'll show you the most basic way of curing salmon roe before your next fishing trip. So curing roe can be a very messy business, so there's several things that you need to get before you start the whole process. So here we have several pieces of paper laying above the table, because if you're curing roe, you definitely don't want to be making a mess on the table, and that just doesn't go well with the parent, your roommate, or your spouse. And the second thing to have is a pair of latex gloves, just to keep your hands free of roe stains. So you also need a pair of scissors to cut your roe into little pieces. And for curing material, traditionally, you can just sprinkle salt onto the roe and just let it harden up. That will draw the water out. But in the last decade or so, we start getting different commercially made roe cure. So this is Polsky roe cure. It comes in several different colors, and it's basically a mixture of different color dyes and salt that you can just sprinkle into the roe. So like I say, it comes in different colors. You have red, you have natural, you got orange, and you got pink. And personally, my favorite is the red, and that I find that works really well for me, especially in murky water. It really stands out in the water besides giving off that scent. So here we have 2 skins of roe sitting on a paper towel, and before we start the curing process, what I want to do is to actually open this roe up, because naturally this roe is actually it's quite compact. It's closed up by the skin, the membrane, when you take it out from the fish. So that will make the curing process much easier. You get all the roe cure into all the eggs quite easily. So this one is actually quite open up already, and just going to make a little cut here and there just to open up a little bit more. Okay, so those 2 opened up quite nicely now. And the second thing is, I don't want to be, for packaging, I don't want to pack this whole thing as one. So what I'll do is I'll cut this into maybe 3 or 4 big pieces. I'll say 3. This is pink salmon roe. It's not super big. So there's 1. And 2, and we have 3 from 1 skin, and we'll do the same thing for the other one. Okay, now we're ready for the roe curing process, and I got my latex gloves on, and we're ready to sprinkle. So when you do this, you want to be quite generous on how much you put on. So that's one side, and we can do the other side as well. Okay, so the sprinkling is done, and what's happening now is this is drawing the water out of the eggs, and what I want to do now is to place these guys into a little container. You can put it in a jar, you can put it in whatever you want to use, but I prefer to use a little container like that. Just put it in like that. And you lay them on top of each other. Close it up. Once you got all the roe pieces in the container, that will sit in there for anywhere between half an hour to 1 hour, and every 5 to 10 minutes or so you just want to roll around a little bit, because all that water coming out from the eggs, it's going to mix with the cure, it's going to be red, and you just want to mix that solution with the egg to make sure it covers up all the eggs quite thoroughly. Okay, so now that our roe has been in the brine for an hour now, you can see that all the juice, all the brine has been coming out from the eggs, and we're ready to take this out. So what I'm going to do first is to take the roe out and just lay it out on the paper towel and drain all that excess juice off. You can't actually use this right away because it's still quite wet, and just like before, if you cut a piece off and put on the hook, it'll fall off quite easily. So you actually have to dry this. You have to air dry this for a period of time. Usually I'll cure the roe from the night before, dry it overnight, and will be ready for the next day. And so what I'll do is, I'll put the roe on the drying rack. So here we have a metal rack with the top on the bottom, so all that juice will get drained onto the top, so you don't make a mess anywhere else. And the way I like to do this is to put the skin side down so you don't damage the eggs. And everyone has their own preference. Some people like to put the egg side down as well, so it really is up to you, and after experimenting around, you'll figure out what's best for your eggs. Once your bait has been drying for 10 to 12 hours, it's ready to be used. If you don't want to use them right away, you can always freeze them. So what I like to do is I like to wrap these guys in saran wrap like that, and they go straight into the freezer. And when you want to use them, you simply take them out, defrost them overnight, and they're ready to be used. Some people like to cut them into small pieces before freezing them and store them in little containers filled with borax. But personally, I like to keep them large sizes like that and cut them while I fish, because the size of the bait I use is different for different target species. So for example, if fishing for chinook salmon, using for large pieces of bait, whereas fishing for coho salmon, the bait tends to be smaller. Because of the size differences, I like to keep them like that. So for more fishing information in British Columbia, please check out our website at fishingwithrod.com, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please leave a comment if you have any questions regarding curing a roe or fishing a roe, and we're always happy to answer them. So until next time, good luck fishing.